We're talking about Lukas Neiros. But if you weren't here for the past 5 or 6 years on Lukas Neiros, don't worry about it because this year is going to be something very interesting about Lukas Neiros. Simon Reish Samach Hey begins with a halacha, which is really a Mishnah. In Shabbos Daf Chav Tes, one is not allowed to put a kli. You're not allowed to put a kli on top, on top of a ner, that the droplets of shemen go into it, because gzeira shemen is stopping a minute, because maybe you'll come to take out of that kli and use the oil. Now, right off the bat, this halacha, the person can say, it's questionable if it's negated nowadays, because nowadays we don't really light with shemen. That's roy lachilam. We have all different sorts of things. We have, different types of things to light. If it's real shemen, this is only if it's real shemen. Or geyser that perhaps you're going to come to use it, la'achila, to be mishtamish with it. But if it's mamish only miyuchid, you could only use it to light. So we're not choishish that you're going to come to take and light something else. There's no chashash that you're going to take a little oil and be over in havara. Chashash is you might come to take shemen to eat, to put in your salad. Since we don't light with shemen today, so there's no problem.
So what's that? You can't take the oil from where?
So the oil that we're dealing with, it's a Mishnah, is we have a kli, and there's a hole in the bottom of the kli, and the kli is being noitif, some of the shemen is being noitif into the ner. So you're not allowed to do that. Why? Because we're afraid that you're going to come to take out some of the shemen of the kli. What's the problem? So what? So you have to take out some of the shemen. What's the problem? It says the mechaber is chayiv b'shemachaba, because you're extinguishing the candle. A little extreme, it sounds like, no? I mean, it's not even part of the candle. It's only on top of it, right? It's a kli which is on top, and it's just dripping some oil into the ner. What's chiyav?
You mentioned
And by the way,
earlier.
I'm sorry.
You're making it stop burning at an earlier stage.
Very nice. By the way, right, making it stop burning early, very good. It's a chiddush. That's considered kibbutz.
Groma. You've not said that's groma.
Yeah. It's a chiddush, right? It's a chiddush that should be considered kibbutz. And stam if he's chayiv, I mean, there's never chiv on kibbutz, by the way. Kibbutz is always a malach shein zichel gufa. We paskin that it's someone shuts lights and Shabbos not issa deraisa. It's only midrabanan because malach shein zichel gufa. What does that mean? The malacha is done. You don't need the malacha for the gufa malacha. You just want the light to be out. The only time you're chayiv mishum kibbutz is if you're dealing with coals and you want it to be out to use the coals. That's malacha tzricha legufa. But just to be mechaber something, that's only isser derabanan. So the lashon mechaber is chayiv mishum mechaber. The Mishnah Berurah says lav dafka. It's only isser. And the isser kibbutz here is also a chiddush gadol, because like Rafi is saying, it's not a real kibbutz. What you're doing is, it's because the light, the ner is going to go out before its time, before its designated time, because you had a certain amount of oil and you took away something. That's also a chiddush that it's called kibbutz. So what's the isser? The isser is b'schayim shemachab because of kibbutz. But if it's kli yachad, there's no problem if it's kli yachad. Right? Why do we say that you're never allowed to light a candle on Shabbos because we're afraid you might take some of the shemen? Right? Always. No, the gzeira is only when you have it in a separate kli, because people are not going to necessarily perceive that that's problematic. They're going to say, well, like we're saying right now, well, it's a separate kli, so what's the big deal? Right? Well, there shouldn't be a kibbutz, but there is, because you're being a karev kibbutz, because you're causing the light, the ner, to go out quicker. Okay, well, that's the first sif in Reish Anachei. Similar sif in Sif Beis. Sif Gimel. Sif Gimel says like this: you're not allowed to put a kli under a ner. You have these shemen drips from the psila, from the wick, soaked with shemen, and sometimes it drips out, and you want to catch the shemen. So ein noisn kli b'Shabbos tachas aner lekabel shemen anoitif. The shemen that drips from the psila. What's the problem? I'm not going to tell you. You tell me. Anybody can figure out what's the problem with putting a kli under under a ner to catch the shemen. What's the problem? Of the Shabbos.
Muksa.
What's the problem with muktzah?
No, it's naked.
What do you want? I take a regular kli. It's not muktzah. I take a kli from my closet.
Regular
Regular.
around before Shabbos. The wax on the, which is dripped on, wasn't around before Shabbos.
Well, it's moiled. He's saying it's noiled because no, the oil is around before Shabbos. I'm just catching the oil that's there. The oil is there. That means like this. It's the wick. The wick is absorbed with oil, and it's dripping. It's dripping from the kli outside onto the table. Whatever. I want to catch it. I want to make sure that
You might put it back in. Is that what it is?
It's not burning, don't create something.
Is it not when you put it, you're going to end up putting the oil back in the thing, and that's going to make it light?
no, you're not going to put the oil back in the thing. No, you're not going to put the oil back in the thing. What should be the problem? What problem with muktzah? What's the problem with muktzah?
It's already a muktzah for lighting.
Okay.
Can't use it for anything else now.
But I'm not being metal for muktzah. I'm just putting in a kli there that you makabel the muktzah. I'm not touching muktzah.
Yeah, you're going to be mice of Muksa. It's going to become a bosses to the kli is going to become bosses to the...
It's going to become a bosses. It's in the middle of Shabbos. It's in the middle of Shabbos. If it's a shine, if it becomes a boss in the middle of Shabbos, could you make a boss in the middle of Shabbos?
You'll be mice of Muksa, which is opposite.
And what?
If you be mice of Muksa, you make...
What's the isser? Why?
What?
What's it? Well, it's also make muktzah Shabbos. What's the isser? Why is it also make muktzah Shabbos? You're allowed to use a napkin. You're allowed to eat your chicken. You're making muktzah. So you're allowed to, what's the problem with making muktzah on Shabbos? What? What's the problem? What steht in the Shulchan Aruch? Because Mishmavatal Kli Mechana. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Brittle Kli Mechana. What does that mean? It means that if you have a Kli which is usable before Shabbos, and when Shabbos comes in, the Kli is still usable, you're not allowed to go and take that Kli and make it not usable on Shabbos. Why not? Why not? What's the problem? Why shouldn't you? It's a very interesting thing. Very interesting halacha. We find a stira in Rashi's. Why not? The Tosfos asks the Kash in Shabbos. Nafman Beis. Tosfos asks already. It's a stira in Rashi. One Rashi in Shabbos says the problem is it's boina. Who said boina? Somebody said boina. Opinion. And one Rashi says the problem is stira, soiser. Right? Opposites. The sun. No. You put muktzah. The oil is muktzah. It's muktzah machmas iser. The oil is muktzah. You put oil in a kli, it becomes is either a problem of binyan or stira. What could be the problem of binyan or stira? So Rashi explains the problem of binyan could be because as soon as the oil falls into the kli, the bowl, whatever you're trying to catch it with, so that bowl you're not going to be able to move. Why not? You're not going to want to move that bowl. You're going to want that the oil should stay in that bowl. You're going to want the muktzah to be there. So because you're going to want the muktzah to be there, so it's ke'ilu mechabroi betit. It's like you're sort of planting the bowl over there in that spot, and that's obviously it's only the rabbanon. So that's problem of mevatel kli machonai. It's ke'ilu you're being boina the bowl into the ground somehow. You're being mechabroi betit because you're not going to want to move it, and that's why I'm binyan. What should be the problem of stira? The problem of stira is because also you taking a kli which is usable and making it not usable. So either way it's a problem of
Gufa, you're using it.
oh, very nice. Gufa, you're using it. Very, very nice. Beautiful. That's the shtamshus you're asking. Asking that Gufa is the shtamshus of the kli.
You're not moving back away from anything at all.
It's
You're now using it for one of the uses.
So it's main use, it's not like food. Using it for like...
Right. Very good.
Lots of things.
Comes the Pnei Yeshua. Pnei Yeshua and Shabbos. Tosfos asks is the stira in Rashi. One place Rashi says the problem is stira. One place Rashi says the problem is binyan. So Pnei Yeshua says not a stira in Rashi. Why not? Because the Gemara, which Rashi explains that it's a problem of binyan, that Gemara discusses that you're dealing with this case, with such a case. That's a problem of binyan. But stira, it's definitely not, like you're saying. You're not being soisidically, because you're using the kli. You're using the kli for whatever it's meant to be used for. A bowl is meant to catch things, to hold things. That's what you're using the kli for. So it's not a problem of stira. The Rashi that says the problem with stira, Rashi's talking about their pillows. Rashi's talking about pillows and blankets. The Gemara is talking about a case where an animal fell into a pit, and you want to use pillows and blankets, basically, so the animal should be able to have an easier time coming up, so you should be able to feed him. And Tzar B'Lachaim is doicha, the Isser, the Rabbana, Bittul Kli Mechana, also in the Gemara. And the Pnei Yeshua says that over there, Rashi had to explain the problem is stira and not binyan, because ain't derech binyan b'karim b'ksasis. You don't build with karim b'ksasis. And there, the problem would be stira because the derech to use karim b'ksasis isn't to give it to a behema. So basically, by giving it to a behema and making it non-usable for its proper usage, that would be stira. That's the Pnei Yeshua's teretz to Rashi. That it depends on what case you're talking about. If you're talking about a case of kalim, real kalim, so then the problem is going to be binyan because you're planting on the ground, but not stira because it's being used for whatever it's supposed to be used for, like you're saying. But if the case is karim exhausted, then the problem is the other way around. That's the Pnei Yeshua's teretz. But anyways, Bittul Kli Mechana is Isser D'Rabbanan, either B'Shem Binyan or either B'Shem Stira. And therefore you're not allowed, the halacha Shulchan Aruch is you're not allowed to put a kli tachas haner to be mekabel shemen, because then you're sort of involved in the kli mechana. Now the Bir Halacha right away it speaks about what about a kli shemalachtai le'eser. Are you allowed to put a kli shemalachtai le'eser there? You know chazmoktzah? Anyone know chazmoktzah a little bit? Okay, so this is a shtickle chazmoktzah a little bit. But anyways, kli shemalachtai le'eser is mutzah chazmoktzah, meaning l'moshel a hammer is kli shemalachtai le'eser. Are you allowed to use a hammer on Shabbos to crack open nuts? Right? You're not allowed to use a hammer to build because that's baina, back of a patish. Right? But what are you allowed to use? Are you allowed to use a hammer to crack open nuts? So it's a Mishnah Shabbos. Right? Mishnah says you are, because it's klisha malachta, so that's called terech gufa, using a malachas heter. So what if you use a klisha malachta le'isser to catch the oil? Is that called bittul kli mehachana? Because anyway, it's muktzah to some degree. It's anyways already muktzah, so you're not making it any more muktzah. So Biur says, of course it is, because since now it's still mutter al terech gufa terech makayim, and you're making it totally not usable, that's a problem. Okay, we'll stop over here.